Good. We continue with Charbets. Yeah. Okay. So I want to go back. I think we last time we started this paragraph 8. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Page 120. Right. So the paragraph Ches told us that that HaShem, in order to increase the amount of people that are going to get into the perfected community, he allowed some individuals to be able to kind of pull in some of the other individuals. Right? This is a letter of Nachman, right? We said last time that somehow tzaddikim have the ability to bring people who are not worthy of themselves to make it to the perfected community. Tzaddikim have the ability to take them out. Good? Right? First of all, I have a question. What's my question? My question is because if you remember the previous paragraph where he talks about how people are put into different places in the world, right? So some people are born in a family of tzaddikim, some people are born in a family of rashoim, some people are born rich, some people are born poor, some people are born smart, some people, right? So there's all these factors that of birth that kind of define what your future is going to look like. But over there, he said, however, in Olam Haba, you are only judged on your own merits, right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
So how does that fit with this paragraph? Over here, he's telling us, there's a way for you to be pulled out by the righteous, even though you don't have your own merits. And yet, in the previous paragraph, he just finished saying that you can only be zoicha, you can only be judged through your own merits. So how does those two things coexist?
So why is it a contradiction? Your merit is you fulfilled your portion, and somebody was underperforming, and you get an extra credit. So you scored 120 in the test.
Well, how can you score 120 in the test?
So you did 100 for you, and somebody was doing 80, and there was 20 left over.
No, the question is, why do you, not talking about you, I'm talking about the guy who wasn't worthy. Why am I able to pull him out?
Why able to pull him out? You said it, that's how it was set up. It's ability to pull him out.
Yeah, but before that he said that you are only judged on your own merits. So why isn't that person being judged on his own merits?
We studied before that there's a threshold. Once you pass it, some go to Gehonim, and some go straight up.
Right, but he's saying that these people wouldn't have passed the threshold.
That's whole idea. So once you pass, so they're able to get admission, and once you get admission, then you get evaluated.
Right.
So like after you pass the line, you're on your own.
So, again, so I'm still not confused. What gives you the right to gain admission? What's the technology? Just because Johnny over there is a loser, you have somehow because he's but your father can't do it.
No.
Only the Rebbe can do it.
That's exactly what it is. Hasidus. Like the only reason Rebbe is great because he has Hasidim to support the Rebbe. Without Hasidim, he's not going to be such a big Rebbe. You need them.
Okay, that could be so.
So that's why they help you. You help them.
So could be that maybe could be that in order for you to be pulled out by a tzaddik, meaning if I'm randomly walking by a street and my tzaddik sees me, I don't know if he has any power over me. Can he pull me out just because he knows of my existence? Like, what's the mechanism? I'm assuming it's only because I have some sort of attachment to that tzaddik, no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right, so somehow he has the ability to pull me out. Meaning, I don't know. I'm not.
Like I said, person gives chesed. Yeah, nice, but without person to receive the chesed, he wouldn't have done the chesed. So it's like.
Right.
So you need the receiving end. That's one. So I know.
Oh, you're saying something interesting. So you're saying that I hear, meaning
Yeah, it's an idea.
meaning because it is a chesed.
Yeah.
It is a chesed, right? Meaning just like Hashem created us, and even though really and ultimately even the biggest tzaddik is really not worthy to cling to the infinite creator, but that's the system that Hashem created, that there should be such a chesed of Hashem allowing the tzaddik into his world. So just like Hashem allows the tzaddik into his world, the tzaddik is connecting to Hashem via the similar action of bringing others into the world. In order for the ability of chesed to exist, right? So maybe that's part of it. So meaning, it's interesting. Okay, let's see. I want to show you what we'll make a connection here. Hopefully, a little. Maybe I don't know if that will help us or not. Let's see. But Mesilas Yesharim. So, right. So Mesilas Yesharim has two halves to it, kind of. There is what he calls, let's say he's going to have a line in this parak, in this chapter. He's going to have a line. Until now, you is what you need to be a tzaddik, and from here on, right. So for example, so this is Midas Aprishus. Okay, this is chapter Yud Gimel. This is parak 13, chapter 13. In Mesilas Yesharim, and he says there's a midah called prishus, which means separation. Okay, so he starts out, for example, haprishus hu tchilas hachasidus. Prishus is the beginning of chasidus, right? Not chasidus that we think about of chasidim in Borough Park and Williamsburg. We're talking about chasidus comes from the word chesed, like you said, chesed, which means to go above and beyond, to do extra things, to do more, right? So there's a level called tzaddik, being righteous when you're doing the right thing, and there's called a layer called chesed when you're going above and beyond. And the beginning of that is precious, and then precious is, so let's just continue. V'tira shekol ma shebiyarnu ad ata. You'll see, I'm reading in the beginning of the chapter, not on the page that I opened for you. V'tira shekol ma shebiyarnu ad ata, that everything I explained until now, hu ma shemitzarech el adam l'shiyat tzaddik, is what a person needs in order to be a tzaddik. And from now on, hu l'shiyah chassid, is what he needs in order to become a chassid. Okay? V'nimtza. Okay, I'm going to skip that. So skipping a little bit. So what is precious? What is precious? V'hinei klal ha'precious hu mashu omru kadesh atzmecha b'muter loch. Sanctify yourself in what is allowed, permissible to you. What does that mean? Liyo is poyresh, to be separated, umarchik, and distance yourself, min hadover, v'hainu she'oiser, meaning forbid upon yourself things that are davar hat, or things that are permissible. Okay? So separation means separate yourself, forbid upon yourself, even those things that ordinarily are permitted. Okay? V'akavona bezen, the intention here is, shlo yivga b'isur atzmai. The purpose is that you should distance yourself so that you should not fall into the trap of something that is forbidden. Okay? So v'ha'inyan, and the idea is, because shekol dover sheyuchali hevoled mimenu gormasra, that anything that can cause something evil, aval pisha achshav einar goyim ra, even though right now it's not really causing anything evil, even though it in itself certainly is not evil, still you want to distance yourself because it has the potential to bring a person to something not good, so you want to distance yourself. Okay? That's the idea of precious separation. Separate even from something that is mutter. Now we turn to that page that are 282 over there. And he asks the following question. Right? So he gives examples. First he gives examples of different precious, and then he says, V'im tishal v'toimer. And if you're going to ask, so he proves, first, I should have said something before, hold on. He asked a question before. So I'm going to paraphrase. He's going to read too much, but he's going to paraphrase. He says, what do you mean? He says, how can you possibly forbid upon yourself things that are permissible? we have prohibitions against this. You're going to be a miserable person. You're going to be depressed, and you're going to have nothing. That you can't do that. Hashem created these things. You cannot possibly. How can you do that? It's against. Gemara brings a Gemara. Gemara says it's a person who fasts is a sinner, right? And again, then he brings right. So that's his question. How could you possibly have this trait called separation if it's not forbidden? That means Hashem wanted you to have it. What do you mean going ahead? You think you're smarter than God? What are you doing? What are you doing? How can you possibly separate yourself from things that are mutter? So and he brings statements of Gemara and Psukim that seem to indicate that you're not allowed to do that. Then he goes ahead and he brings sources that such a thing does exist. So then he says, right. So now he says, you're going to ask and say, so if you're going to tell me that this thing is something that is needed, and is required, so how come the sages did make certain distances? They did forbidden us certain things that are ordinarily mutter, right? Why? Why did they forbid for us certain things that are mutter? Because so we wouldn't come to sin, right? That's a siyag, it's a protection, right? It's a layer of protection. So if the Chachamim didn't see fit to make those decrees, so why are you coming and making those decrees? Right? Right, good. So Kamosh Gozral Hasiyagos V'Takonos Shegozru. So Hinei Hatshuva Mevo'eres Pshuta, the answer is clear and simple. Kiloi Gozru Chachamim Gzeira, the Chachamim did not decree anything, Elim Kein Reva Tzibur Yicholim Lamid Boy, if only the majority of the congregation can stand it, meaning can go. What's the word? Go with it, right? And the majority of the congregation is not able to be Hasidim. The majority of people are not able to be Hasidim. Aval dai lahem sheyiyu tzadikim. It's enough for them that they should be tzadikim. Okay. However, a few of the select strong ones that amongst the people, that want to merit likravosa yizbarach, to closeness to Hashem, and to enable to merit through their merits all the other populace that is dependent upon them. Lahem magia lekayim mishnas chasidim. To them, it is pertinent to fulfill the laws of chasidim, mishnas chasidim, whatever the study of chasidim, meaning the measure of chasidim. Asher lo yuchlu lekayim acherim, which others are not able to fulfill. Hem sidrei aprishus ha'ela. These are the laws of the separations for these people. Ki bezeh bochar Hashem. For this is what Hashem chose. It's impossible for a nation that everybody will be on the same level, right? So we got free market spiritualism, yeah. There are many levels within the nation. Each man according to his intellect. So at least the select unique individuals, yimotzush, will be found, asher yachinu es atzmam, which will prepare themselves, right, will fortify themselves, prepare themselves, hachana gemura, complete preparation, val yidei hamuchanim, and via those that chose to prepare themselves, yizku gam habilti muchanim, will merit also those that are not fully prepared, not fully dedicated. Ela havoso yizborech. They will also merit to the love of Hashem, v'hashroas shchinosoi, and to the resting of His presence. Okay, where do we get this idea? Okay, this is the idea that we find in the four species of the lulav. Yovoi eila v'yichapra leila. Let these come to be mechaper, to atone for these ones. וכבר מצאנו ליאל הזכר לטוב שאומר לרבי ישוע בן לוי Okay, let's leave that. Okay, so that's the story. Okay, so the story is, so let's see, how does this match up with what we said over here? That's my question, right? Does this perfectly align? Not so perfectly align, right? Is it the same idea? Is this a different idea? What's happening over here in this part with Mesilas Yesharim? So just to continue, he says over here, so what is precious that's not good? Precious that's not good is when people go too far, in his opinion. When people deprive themselves of things that are necessary. Okay, meaning when you deprive yourself of the extras, that's what he calls the good precious, and when you deprive yourself of the unnecessary, of the necessary, that's bad precious. Or things like, then he knocks, I don't know if he knew Hasidim, but going into the mikveh in the ice, he's not crazy about it. Okay, so anyways, all right, so that's the story. So how does this jive with us? What does he say? Let's summarize. So he says, number one, he says that you cannot have a nation that's all on the same level. So then my question is, why not? Why can't you have a nation that's all on the same level? Why couldn't, Korach was right, no? Everybody is, right? Everybody's, how does it go? They're all holy.
Yeah, well,
They're all holy, and b'soichem HaShem, and they're all, they're all.
Yeah, all holy was his own Kohen Gadol, so not everybody the same level.
So okay, let's go back. Let's get into that. So okay, so you're right. There can only be one Kohen Gadol. So does that mean he's automatically higher in Olam Haba than everybody else because of his position? That goes back to the previous, right? That goes back to the previous point, that each person gets a certain role to fulfill in this world. That's part of the Olam has that position. I'm sorry, but his Olam Haba is judged on his own merits, right?
So we discussed it last week. If he's given more of a muscle, he's going to achieve more. So obviously not everyone is created equal in terms of a muscle, weight, and power, and potential.
Right. So not everyone is created equal. Okay.
Right, but we talk about Skosovas and...
Okay, but why not? Why isn't everybody created equal?
Well, that's just probably an observation. We want to know why not. It seems that not everyone is created.
Yeah, because don't we look like each of us responsible for the other? If all the same, what would be responsible? There's nothing to be responsible about.
In the way he understands responsible. Before I read this, I said responsible means if I see a guy doing something wrong, I have to go over it and say, listen, don't do it.
Yeah, but everybody on the same level, then...
Well, everybody on the same level potentially, but they still make choices, right?
Okay.
No? They make choices. So then, we were on the same level, but then this guy made some wrong choices. But he's saying, what did he say? He says, what did he say? She efsher le'uma, she efsher, what does it say? First he says that it's impossible for everybody to be Hasidim. Right? Why not? That's a very sad thing, no? Isn't the whole picture is to be perfect, to come close to HaShem? Isn't that the whole purpose of creation? That we started with Derech HaShem, right? Isn't that all of Olam Haba is dependent on coming closer to HaShem? So you're saying the plan is a failure.
Some people were made not to achieve.
Yes, he was a plan.
This sounds pretty sad.
Well, it sounds depressing. To me, it sounds depressing. No, you're okay.
Yeah.
Again, so it's also already starts. Okay, yeah, I don't know. But the other thing is, the other thing that struck me over here is like this. Over here, he clearly is saying that it's true that not the entire nation, or not even the majority of the nation, can be Hasidim. He did say, "Dai lahem sheyu tzadikim." It's enough for them to be all tzaddikim. So that is possible to achieve, right? So if everybody to be tzaddikim, that's possible to achieve. There's a Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch tells you what to do, what not to do. Everybody is obligated to fulfill all of the aspects of the Shulchan Aruch. That seemingly, according to him, is possible, right? And then, so then you have a few quote unquote tzaddikim, let's call them chasidim or kedoshim, or the holy ones, and they have the ability to do what?
Go the extra mile.
Right, and then as a result of them going the extra mile, what do they do?
To inspire others to go extra mile.
Well, that could be, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying they will inspire HaShem to love the nation in their current state, and inspire Hashuras Ashchina that Hashem will rest His presence, even despite the fact that not everybody is, ultra Hasidic, right?
Yeah,
Correct? But that's not what it says here. Over here, he's saying, seemingly, that this guy was a Rasha, and he wouldn't be able to join the community of the perfected ones at all. And the tzaddik, quote unquote, the chassid, is able to pull him out into the perfected ones, into the community of the perfected ones, even though he himself was not part of the community of the perfected ones.
Don't we have the concept simplified in that Lord Parsha when Abraham Margan is only 10 tzaddikim, they will save entire city. So it's the same idea. It's just simplified on much lower level.
Maybe no, because maybe over there
like
it was a question:
proportional.
is do they still have hope? Is there hope for them to change?
But
So if there are 10 tzaddikim in the city, 10 tzaddikim can change the city.
But the same thing is where 10 Hasidim and rest of tzaddikim isn't the same concept, like those 10 can pull up rest.
But it doesn't sound like they pull up by changing them.
No,
It
just-
sounds like they pull
by
up
being
by
there.
by just being there.
Yeah, but by being there, by being those 10 Hasidim, the rest tzaddikim, they exist because of those 10. It's like parallel, there's different levels. Sounds,
That's not the same.
it's not,
I could be okay with tzaddikim, with chasidim, pulling out tzaddikim into the realm of love. I think that's less complicated than tzaddikim pulling out Rashoyim, Sodomites, into the realm of Olam Haba.
No. At this point, it was just to stay alive. It wasn't that far. But the concept is like 10 perfect bonds can persuade Hashem to look more leniently on the rest of them. It was the same idea.
Right. Okay. I mean, the mathematics is similar, but it's not. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same. Okay. Fine. Okay, good. Anyway, so we see from here one thing. We see from here one thing, either whether it's from the Mesilas Yesharim part or from the Derech HaShem part, which I'm not sure if they're functioning on the same level. We see the importance of attaching oneself to a holy Jew. That's what it's, because none of us, I'm sorry to say, forget Hasidim. We're, alavai, we should be tzaddikim, but we're not even anywhere close to that part, So therefore, our only chance might be attaching ourselves to a holy person. So the question is, right? So is it an automatic thing, or is it a relationship thing, right? Meaning, so since we saw from the previous chapter that it seems like everybody's judged on their own merits. So it doesn't sound like it's an automatic thing. It sounds like it's a relationship thing. That if you have a relationship with the holy tzaddik, then that tzaddik can pull you out. Randomly, what's the point? What's the point? I mean, it's almost like, when Yitzchak sent Esav out to get him, before he gives him a bracha, he sent him to get him some food. Why? Why couldn't he just give him a bracha? Because you need a little bit from kind of below, so to speak, a little geschmack, a little taste, a little pleasure, right? To get this thing working. So over here also, it seems like a tzaddik. Technically he can bestow His goodness on any person, but there has to be a reason for it. It has to be. It's a relationship with you, right? So it's a give and take. So
we're saying a relationship is a necessary component.
I think so. I think that's the difference. To me, that's the big difference between the beginning and the end. That connection. So, okay. Let's continue. Okay, so we are on page 122 now. And this now it gets a little heavy. Let's see. V'amnam. However, al pishoyrish zeh, according to this root, nisdar, it was arranged, sheyagiyu soros v'yisurim li'ish tzadik, that there shall come, there will be imposed soros and isurim and afflictions and what are they called, suffering upon a righteous man. Okay, so v'yiyazeh l'kaparas doira, and that will be an atonement for his generation. So not only does he bestow his goodness upon these unworthy individuals, he also has to suffer on their behalf as well. V'hinei mechiyu v'tzadik hu lekabel bi'ahavo ha'yisurim she'izdamnu loy. Not only that, it is obligatory upon this tzaddik to accept with love the affliction that is prepared for him, l'te'elas doira, for the benefit of his generation. Just like he was accepting with love, the yisurim that he was accepting for himself, that was for his own atonement. Just like he said before, remember that the yisurim are a chesed, right? It's part of your cleansing process, a part of you becoming more worthy to be zoich in the world to come. So this tzaddik, just like he was on the level first of accepting be'ahava, the yisurim that were helping him, he has to now be on the level of be'ahava, accepting yisurim on behalf of others. Okay? It gets worse, don't worry. And through this action of suffering on behalf of others, meitiv l'doira, he bestows goodness upon his generation, shemechaper lov, because he atones for it. But as a result, of course, he is raised an immense uplifting. Shenasem in haroishim, because he becomes from the heads, b'kibutz b'nei ha'olam haba, in the gathering that will be in the world to come of Kamosha Zachar. Right? So in the end, he gets uplifted because he takes one for the team and he gets rewarded accordingly. Okay? But let's see the next paragraph. From this also type as well, Yimotzi od min acher. There's still another type, quote unquote, he doesn't say what, another type of affliction. Yoiser gavoya b'malosim oiser zacharna. That's even loftier than the one we have mentioned. What could be loftier? He's already taking one for the team. What do you want from this guy? Yeah. Okay, v'zeh, and this is what we see now is, what we mentioned now is that he gets punished, that tzaddik gets punished for the people of his generation, because they were otherwise deserving of a great punishment. And they were close to destruction, and annihilation, or before annihilation and destruction. V'hu, and he, the tzaddik, b'yisurov, through his affliction, through his suffering, mechaper aleihim, atones upon them, umatzilam ba'olam hazeh, and he saves them in this world from this destruction, from the punishments that they were deserving. Umoylehem gam lo'olam habo, and he also helps them in the world to come. So that's this yisurim. Amnam yesh oid yisurim, but there is another type of yisurim, shenoisnim lechasidim, that is given to Chasidim, hayoiser gedolim, that are the greatest of the great, hamushlomim kvar be'atzum, that they are perfected now. They don't have their own suffering to go through. They are themselves perfected. Behem, and these yisurim is lazor, lema, it's a difficult line over here, la'azor, to help, lema shetzorech leklal gilgulei ha'hanchoga, that what is necessary for the general, I don't know, mechanics of the master plan, sheyagiyu el hasoif shuhu hashleimus, in order to bring towards the end, which is perfection. So this line is not clear to me, but this suffering is this is how he translates it. The suffering comes to provide the help necessary to bring about the chain of events leading to the ultimate perfection of mankind as a whole. Again, this suffering comes to provide the help necessary to bring about the chain of events leading to the ultimate perfection of mankind as a whole. Okay?
So the sufferings.
So a couple of differences here. Number one is, till now, the first suffering was coming to prevent punishment of his generation. So he's taking it for his generation. This one is mankind as a whole. That's one difference that we notice. The other difference that we notice is that one is for specific punishment. This is more. He's going to elaborate a little more. Just in the next paragraph, this is more for this, what he calls the chain of events, the general chain of events. Not a specific punishment that occurred or a specific wrong that needs to be corrected, but the general chain of events. So two things. The first one is generation. The other one is world as a whole. The other one, let's call it chain of events. The other one is specific punishment. Okay, let's see how he's going to explain a little more. But and let's explain this matter. That from the perspective of the first types of affliction, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. From the original plan, that was arranged for the guiding of the world and its chain of events. It was necessary for a person to endure a little bit of suffering. In order for that person and the entire world with him to achieve perfection. And that automatically has to exist from the fact that Hashem had to conceal his light, and he had to hide his face. Meaning, in order for the possibility of creation to exist, we said before in the beginning that there has to be an element of concealment that involves. And since there is an element of concealment that involves in the very fabric of creation, that concealment has to bring a certain layer of suffering with it as part of the basic fabric of creation. Before sin, before anything, just it's part and parcel of creation as it is. Okay? This is one of the foundational aspects of a person's state in this world that we mentioned above. So certainly that this increased even more because of the kilkulim, of the destruction that was created be'olam in the world mitzad chatoim, from the perspective of sins, al chatoim gedolim, great and greater sins, v'atzumim, and strong ones, shenasu boy, that were done in it. Right? So even without any sin, there was an element of concealment, and as part of that element of concealment, there has to be some suffering. But now that is exponentially magnified because of the sins that were done in the world. And so the concealment increased, and the goodness was hidden. So it comes out that the world exists, and the world and its creation exist in a very low state and an evil state. So it has to be so that through some link, the chain of events that the wisdom decreed, that somehow all of this has to turn around to be rectified. Okay? How is this going to be all rectified? And one of the central ways that this is going to be rectified, that people should accept some kind of afflictions for their evilness. midas hadin mefuyeses, until to the point that this midas hadin, right, the midah of Hashem's judgment will be appeased, will be satisfied. Okay, we're going to need to explain this a little more. V'ulam, and however, Siddur ha'odon baruch hu, that Hashem, Master, set up, arranged, she'ashleimim, that the perfected ones, v'achashuvim, and then the important ones, yuchlu l'sakein, will be able to fix this, bi'ad acherim, on behalf of others, u'kamoish zacharno, v'tivga bohem midas hadin, that it's upon them, the midas hadin will attack them, tachas pago beklal ha'olam, instead of attacking the entire world. Yeah? So let's think about this. What is he saying? He's saying like this. He's saying that there are two layers of Yisurim, of affliction, that these tzaddikim have to endure on behalf of others. One is there's a punishment coming. They're shielding the rest of the people, as a parent does to a child. They're shielding with their own kind of protection. And then there's another one that comes from the very essence of midas hadin. It's not about punishment for sins. It's about the question of the question that the Malachim asked. Ma enosh kesizkereno, like, what is man that you remember him? Right? Should the man be created? The Malachim, right? They were asked, should we create? And they said, no, don't create. So there is a constant question. There's a constant question that's being asked. Why do these beings exist? Why do people exist? What makes them deserving of anything? Even the perfected ones. What makes them deserve anything? Right? There's a midas hadin in the world that's demanding, why should this exist? And the only answer is a sort of like a superhero answer that says this is why they exist. This is why they exist, because of what this above and beyond that they have achieved. It's in the answer to midas hadin. It's not a question of punishment. It's the answer to the actual question of why existence in the first place. And so these unique tzaddikim, the special tzaddikim, they answer, so to speak, for the entire. That's why I said it's two differences in the previous lines. One difference is that it's not for their generation and any particular punishment. It's for the creation as a whole, and not necessarily a punishment. It's true that he said that the halem increased, that the hiddenness increased as a result of sins, but it's ultimately for this thing. The concealment is to answer to the concealment. It's to answer to the midas hadin, to say, well, why should this exist in the first place? Let's abort project. And so there comes these unique individuals to stand up and say, no.
Tzaddikim is done.
Right?
Tzaddikim.
No, this is more than tzaddikim is done. This is more than tzaddikim is done. This is tzaddikim and the whole shebang, and the whole picture, the whole creation. Yeah, this is Avram and the Akedah. That's really what it. So, okay. Let's just finish this paragraph, right? What time is it? I can't see that. I'm doing live, can I? Okay. V'amnam. However, Kevin Shehem Atzmam Shleimim, since these individuals are themselves perfected, V'ru'uyim L'toiv, and they are really worthy of the good, V'shehem Misyasrim, and they are being afflicted, Rak Ba'avur Acherim, only for the sake of others, Vadai, certainly, Shetispayis Midas Hadin B'muot Bohem, that, since these are self-sacrificing individuals, so certainly the midas hadin will therefore be appeased with only a few of them, or with a small. I'm not sure. It's a few of them or a small amount of suffering. I think with a few of them, I think it means with a few of them, not with, like he says over here. Yeah. So, right? So he's saying, even though, I'm not sure what he's going back to the second one, to the first one, it's not clear to me. But basically he's saying that the quality of these individuals allows them, and because they're doing it not for themselves but for others, so therefore the exchange rate is not the same. The exchange rate is pretty high. So therefore it's not, I don't have to, hopefully kill 6 million Jews. Whatever. It's, whatever. Okay. Yeah. V'lo'oid. V'lo'oid ela shel yidei zeh zechusam noisu v'koichem mischazek. And not only that, through this, their schus, their merit is increased, and their strength is strengthened. V'chol sheken sheyicholim nesakin as asher ifso acherim, and certainly they are able to fix what others have done wrong. Not only are they able to fix their generation, they are able to fix everything that the world kind of destroyed or caused destructiveness from the moment that there were sins until now. So certainly that these individuals that are able to accomplish such rectification, in the end, in the gathering of the perfected ones, they will be Roshei Harishonim. They will be the heads of the first ones, and they will be the closest ones to Him, blessed be His name. Okay, stop here.